That is the most important question that you can be asking right now. And it is what you can do essentially as a buyer in order to stand out in this current market, because what we are seeing right now is possibly the most competitive sellers market we have ever seen before. So you coming in as a buyer, you're at a disadvantage because you're going up against so many other buyers, in this price point too. So that 280 to 310 price point, ultra competitive right now. Very, very competitive. So I wanted to say that off the bat, but I wanted to touch on a few things that I had mentioned in that last question, just to go over them more in depth. So your question was, what are your thoughts and general strategies for buyers in the existing market? So before anything, and I always say this to people, before anything, you have to be in the right headspace. You have to be in the right headspace and know going in to this competitive market that it's extremely important to detach yourself from the outcome, right? Because you're going to be getting into bidding wars. Your emotions are going to be running high. You're going to be going into properties that you fall in love with, and you're going to want to do anything that you can to get the property. And there's a great chance that you're going to lose that property to someone else who's willing to offer a little bit more in purchase price, better terms, shorter or longer settlement date, whatever it is, because again, we are in an extremely competitive market right now. And in Downingtown and Westchester and those surrounding areas where you guys are looking, it's very difficult. So being in the right headspace and understanding going into the buying process that it's going to be difficult, right? But you have to do your best to detach yourself from the outcome. So I'll say that, and that's usually the first thing I say to first-time home buyers, whether it's this market or any market. You just have to be prepared mentally, because it's extremely important. Having your finances in order and meeting with your lender before you looked at homes. It is amazing that you guys have already taken that step. I would take it one step further. So I don't know exactly who you spoke with or the amount of information you gave them, but I would take it a step further as to get pre-approved rather than just pre-qualified. So a pre-approval means that the lender has vetted all of your financials, right? So they have viewed your credit, they have verified employment, they've looked at your tax returns, your W-2s, all your financials, and have based your pre-approval off those numbers. A lot of times buyers will just fill out the application, get a pre-qualification, and then the lender will say, okay, well, when you find a property, you submit the offer, and then we're going to verify everything else in between. But in order for you to stand out a little bit more, I think you should go with the pre-approval first and send them all the information that you can, so they have a great idea of where you stand financially. They have your debt to income ratio, and you're just going to be a stronger buyer that way. So I would highly suggest you do that if you have not already. You have to have a strong down payment and a strong earnest money deposit. So what sellers want to see from a buyer is skin in the game, right? They want to see that you're putting a strong down payment down on your loan, and they want to see that you're putting a strong earnest money deposit, because that is going to signal to them, oh, these are serious buyers. If the house is a $300,000 house, if you're doing conventional, which I'll talk about right after this, whether it's 10%, 15%, or 20%, even 5% in some cases is fine, but I would put down the most amount of money possible. And then as far as the earnest money deposit or the good faith deposit, which is in addition to the money you put down, but that good faith or earnest money deposit gets put towards your closing costs at the end. So we are always suggesting anywhere from 3 to 5% of the purchase price. That is going to, again, show that you're a strong buyer and that you're very interested in this property and that you're not messing around. We highly suggest, if you can't buy with cash, which there are a ton of cash buyers right now, especially in this low price point too. But if you can't buy cash, and if you have to get financing, that you go conventional over FHA, over VA, or over USDA. And the reason why is because a conventional loan is the most competitive loan that can go up against a cash offer, plain and simple. With an FHA, with the USDA, or with a VA loan, there are inspections, secondary inspections that have to be done by the lending institution in order to lend on the home. So in order for you to get a mortgage for an FHA, they have to do their own inspection and appraisal, in addition to any kind of inspections that you elect. With conventional, you don't have that. And plain and simple, sellers want to see the least amount of contingencies possible. We never, ever suggest waiving inspections. We don't, especially as a first-time home buyer, unless you're very savvy with construction and home repairs. That's the only time that we would say. In this market, to get a house in these areas that you're looking in, most people, I would say 90% or more of buyers that are offering are going to be waiving inspections. They're going to be waiving home inspections, the termite inspection, radon inspections, because that's what's attractive to the sellers, as least contingencies as possible, right? So not having those home inspections in there, not having an appraisal contingency, which I'll talk about right after this. You have to have a mortgage contingency if you're utilizing a mortgage. So that has to be in there. But, making sure that your offer is as strong as possible. Unfortunately, you're going to be going up against a lot of people that are waiving inspections. So that is something for you to think about. And if you don't feel comfortable with it, then we're just going to have to put our best foot forward when we're submitting an offer. And there's ways that we can structure it where, we can potentially make the offer strong, but good terms for the sellers. Something you also have to be willing to do is cover an appraisal shortfall. So what that means is, if you're looking at a home that's priced at $300,000, right? And say all the offers are above asking, 310, 315, whatever it is. Say you get your offer accepted at $310,000. The list price is $300,000. An appraiser comes in and he appraises it for $300,000 because there's no comps really to support 310, which is what we're seeing a lot. But actually, as this goes on, now there are more comps to support these higher asking prices and higher offer prices. So you have to be willing to cover that shortfall. So if there's a $10,000 shortfall from the offer price and the appraisal price, the sellers want to know that you're willing to come up with that extra 10 grand in order to get the house, right? Because, if 10 people are offering over it, there's going to be at least 6 or 7 that are saying, hey, I'll put up that extra 10,000 if it doesn't appraise for 310,000. So that is something to think about. And, having an appraisal contingency on a home that just came on the market, you're probably not going to get that offer accepted. So that is something that you should think about too. Know the difference between your must-haves and your nice-to-haves in a home, and be willing to compromise. There is, in my opinion, there's no way that you're going to find everything that you want in a home, unfortunately. There's no way that you're going to find everything that you want in a home, so you have to be willing to compromise. You have to know what your must-haves are. I have to have 3 bedrooms. I have to have 1.5 bathrooms. If I had 4 bedrooms, that's a nice to have. If I had 2 full bathrooms, that's a nice to have, but you have to stick to what your must-haves are, and be willing to compromise on those nice to haves, right? And only you know what your must-haves are. And you said that you have everything written out, so that's fantastic. And what you have to be willing to do is compromise. If you see a house, right, that's 3 bedrooms, say it's 1 bath, and you really want 1.5 baths, but the house, everything else fits your criteria, or just about everything else fits. You have to be able to think outside the box, essentially, and say, okay, well, we can put in another half bath, we can put in another full bath down the road whenever it is. We don't need it right now because we're perfectly fine with 1 full bath right now, or whatever it is. Take the full bath and apply to whatever your must-haves are and your nice-haves. But you have to be willing to compromise, because it's almost a guarantee you're not going to find every single thing that you want in a home. But be able to think outside the box and know that you can add things. As long as the structure of the home and the size of the home supports it, you can pretty much add whatever you want down the road. So that's a very important thing to realize right now. And the last thing I talked about is acting with haste and being smart. You have to be fully prepared to make an offer, and I can't stress that enough. You have to be really, really prepared and ready to go as soon as a home hits the market. A lot of times, like when we list homes, when Marcy and I list a home, we'll list it on a Thursday. We'll say highest and best offer by Sunday. Sometimes agents aren't doing that. And if you see a house come up on a Tuesday, you have to be willing and ready to show that house as soon as possible, or view that house as soon as possible. Sorry. You have to be able to act quickly, get in the house as soon as you can. And if you love it, you have to be ready to make an offer right away. We're going to be prepared to do that for you, but you also have to be prepared. And at the same time, you have to be smart about your decision. You have to do what's best for you and your family, first and foremost. So, acting quickly, but understanding that what you're doing is going to be best for you and your family. So those are the basic things that we talk about with people when they're deciding to buy a home right now. Again, it's really, really tough. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. It's extremely tough to buy a home. The one thing that I'm going to leave you with, because I know you're interviewing multiple agents, but the one thing that I want to leave you with is this. You want to work with someone that is fully in the game. And an analogy that I use is, I bring it back to sports because I watch sports, but say you're a baseball fan, right? And you have the option. You can pick an all-star team, and you have so many different people to choose from, right? But when you're picking an all-star team in whatever sport it is, you're going to go for the people that are always in the game, that know the game front and back, that have been playing baseball for a long time and understand it. And that's how I relate how we operate as a team to real estate. So we are in the game every single day. I've been doing this for 5+ years. Marcy and I have been partners now for a little over a year, but we're doing this every single day. This is not a part-time thing for us. We're studying the market. We know Downingtown and Westchester, they're our main markets, in Coatesville. We know how to get offers accepted. We know what you need to do in order to put your best front forward to be in consideration. So we're the all-stars, essentially. We know what to do in order to set you up to be successful